And I've got a series of questions that Ellie sent me, which I think will be a template, but we'll, of course, deviate a little bit. The series of questions deals with his latest thing called On the Trail of the Nephilim, the mysterious mound builders. And, of course, this is amazing. He had an amazing presentation on the Gen6.com conference in Branson, Missouri recently, along with many other great researchers, astrophysicists, geologists, and basically people following the trail of all this information. And so the first question is, why did you make Mathematical Mysteries of the Mound Builders?
Well, as you know, Dr. Deagle, and thanks for having me on the show, there is a hidden history that science and the academic community completely ignore for the most part. They manage the agenda. They spin things. They're not interested in anything that goes up against their paradigm, which, of course, is a Darwinian one. So what we discovered in these mounds in Newark, Ohio, the Great Circle Mound, which is about 1,200 feet in diameter, and the Octagon Mound, which encompasses 52 acres. It gives you an idea. 52 acres. It gives you an idea how big the Octagon Mound is. 50 acres. It's unbelievable. And when I stood in it for the first time, I just went, I have no idea what this is. You fly the drone up 1,000 feet, and there's the Octagon. And it's an unequal octagon. So the idea of getting equal lengths of rope and going out and making this thing, I mean, how would you check your work? It's absolutely pristine when seen from the air. Not to mention the thousands of yards of dirt hauled to the site, compacted, and to create this Octagon Mound. Everything is on an 18-and-a-half-year lunar cycle, which, again, Native Americans did not know about the 18-and-a-half-year lunar cycle. Most Europeans 4,000 years ago didn't either. They certainly had no idea of geometry or trigonometry. And so this is a conundrum. And when you speak to modern-day archaeologists, no matter how many facts you throw at them, they always have a comeback as to, well, Native Americans built all this. They just forgot they had done so. But when you talk to the Native Americans, First Nation people, which we have, medicine men, chiefs, and everything else, they say, and they come on the record and say it, we didn't build this. It was here when we got here. We didn't build this stuff. So there's a controlled narrative, as you well know, in all forms of science, in all forms of academia, and that's what the film basically drills down into.
Right. In other words, you basically did what I have said for years on my show. You know that the anomalies and paradoxes are an answer to a question you haven't asked yet. You asked the right questions. Please continue.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, when we were at the Circle Mound, our team may be the only team that's ever done this. I don't know. We hired a surveyor, a local surveyor. The guy's name was Todd Willis. I said, Todd, there's a moat that goes around the inside of the Circle Mound. Again, it's about 1,200 feet in diameter. And that moat is about 6 feet deep. And it's very large. And in some places, it's really large. In other words, really wide and deep. And I went, let's find out how level this thing is. And so he gets out there with his transits and satellite stuff, and he's astonished because he goes, wow, this thing's basically dead level between 6 inches and a foot in 1,250 feet. It's astonishing. Now, remember, this site is thousands of years old, so that difference in measurements, he only took like 4 or 5 measurements.
And by the way, when you're talking about thousands, you're saying it's so old that it precedes even the nature and the existence of the native peoples in North America. Please continue.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is what's amazing about it. So you'd have silt, maybe in some parts, runoff, leaves, debris over a couple of thousand years that can easily influence the elevation of the moat. The bottom line is there's no water source there. Ancient maps of Squire and Davis show a pond or like a lake, but it's a good distance away. And so Willis comes on the record and says, well, the only way you could do this in the ancient world would be to haul water in, by the deerskin load. How's that going to work out for you? And can you imagine that? And fill up a section to see where level was. And then after you've done that, you go on to the next section. Well, these are hunter-gatherers 3,000 or 4,000 years ago, Dr. Bill, and they don't have the time to be doing this kind of stuff. So we are looking at something else that in other words, Fritz Zimmerman calls it fallen angels in the Ohio Valley, and that's exactly what it is. I call it Nephilim architecture. fallen
Right.
angel technology. And that's what I think it is.
Right. Yeah. Well, with the Nephilim, of course, is a reference to the Bible. I make the statement, but I think it kind of makes sense and integrates with that evil on Earth is trans-dimensional exoplanetary. How's that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it certainly is. And that's, the Bible speaks of that. And
Right.
It's exactly what we're looking at. And
Right.
our mission statement is to expose the deception of the prince of the power of the air and the
Right.
herald of the return of the King Jesus. So the prince of the power of the air is nothing more than the dragon.
Right. And by the way, the dragon, the primary one of these beings, is the Earth's rotated. We talked about this the other day with Mark Gaffney, and the ancient temples all pointed toward the rotation of the Earth, pointed to Alpha Draconis, the primary, what's called the Dragon Star, in the belt of Orion,
Yep.
where the chief of these beings, which we call the amphibious reptilians, they're called the Dagon in the Middle East and the Naga in Oceania, and they're called the Chitahuri by people like Credo Mutwa in southern Africa, the native shaman.
Yeah.
So people need to start understanding there's connections here in all the ancient books. Go read from the Book of the Dead and the ancient book of the Vimana and everything. All these books point to the same thing. This is not an anomaly. Every religious book, everything we actually search like you have, the actual archaeology and connect the dots, it all, including the Bible, makes complete sense. It's not in violation of one thing or another. It all is just connecting the dots, right?
Absolutely. I mean, what we're looking at here is the fingerprints of the supernatural. I mean, it's there. We spent 28 days in Europe going to many, many different sites, as we have in the Americas. And these three films show sites like the Great Circle Mound, the Octagon Mound. But then there's other mounds, like Miamisburg, like the Grave Creek Mound, which we visited several times, which is just mind-boggling. And again, when Europeans got there and they went into the Grave Creek Mound, they discovered giants there. So we know.
And by the way, you did a lot of work on the giants too. In fact, I have my military contacts in Afghanistan, and they come across an actual physical giant that was 18 feet tall in Afghanistan. Did you know that?
Well, that was our Watcher's 10. We actually had the shooter that shot the thing and brought it down.
Right.
We filmed him along with a second witness. And since then I've had another gentleman that's can't come on the record. He's basically part of a deep state or whatever.
Right.
But he told me unequivocally that these giants, there's more than one, are flown right in the Wright-Patterson, and you know we're doing DNA stuff on it.
Exactly.
So, I mean, all this is, look, I mean, the shooter, by the way, our shooter has gone dark. If he's listening to this, please call me. I won't say his name. But he's gone dark. I can no longer get a hold of him. But I want to say something, Dr. Goodall. I was approached several years ago when Obama was still president. This was before the Trump era, okay? I was approached by a guy from a deep state who basically schooled me, Deep State 101. He basically said, you know, L.A., we don't care who's in the White House 4 years, 8 years. We don't go away. These are elected officials, but we're not. We're here. And we have bastions of power, like the DOJ, the FBI, the Department of Commerce, whatever. We've got power. And he threatened me and my family three different ways. And I don't mind telling you what it is because at least I'm on the record. He said, oh, hey, do you have an iPhone? I go, yeah, I have an iPhone. He goes, well, is it encrypted? I go, no. He goes, well, when they come and get you or want to arrest you, they'll find kiddie porn on it. I went, oh, really? Okay. This is his opening salvo to me. Then he goes, what kind of a car do you drive? And I go, I have a 1991 sports car, which I restored. Does it have a computer? I said, yeah, it's an early computer, but yeah. He goes, well, we can make that car do all sorts of things, and you'll never be able to control it. His last thing was, do you have any children? And I said, yeah, I have two daughters. And he at this point, he threatens me, and he goes, you know, one of them could never just disappear and never be found again. And I look at him, and I said, you know, guy, you got all the cards. I get it. You have all the money. You got all the resources. I'm just a little punk guy, you know, just trying to find the truth of all this stuff that believes in Jesus. But here's the deal. You can't touch me unless he allows you to touch me. And he was taken aback by that. And the reason why I go public with it is because people need to understand that's how the game is played.
Right.
When you get too close to something, you're threatened. And I was basically threatened.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, people need to grasp this is not a child's game. It's not a child's game. This is serious stuff.
Not a game.
And that's why I bring you on, and I want to bring you on at least once a month to talk about this. And I'm trying to get Steve Quill and others from your Gen 6 conference because even, for example, I think Mike Adams did a presentation about, the planet is being terraformed. Now, you got to understand, I got introduced to this stuff in more of a deep level 25 years ago when I got security clearance at above top secret, which is at or above the level of the president. And I took care of employees in Colorado at U.S. Space Command, Military Defense Command, Missile Defense, etc., and classified projects including biological and radiological terrorism. And the very first statement on July 10th, 1994, the director of Space Command said 2 miles underground in the underground city at Falcon, 18 miles east of Colorado Springs underground, 3 higher levels of security than NORAD, we control every cubic centimeter of space between here and Mars. And he told me about the Dark Knight satellite up in orbit between 10 and 35,000 years in polar orbit. He talked about the fact that we have built a community on Mars since 1982, and we have ancient monuments discovered that some of them they think are as old as 500,000 years. He knows that the human population on Mars was destroyed by an ancient galactic war. I mean, you got to understand that the real world and the world that you think exists is completely different. You've been told fairy tales about what's really going on. Right? Completely different. Yeah, and by the way, it's all embedded in the Bible. I mean, even the flood of Noah was there. It says, if you actually read the Hebrew, that Noah and his sons were perfect in their generations. Now, remember, Noah was a wine bibber. He liked making wine. He was a bit of an alky when he started building the ark. And I think he was about 300 or 400 years old when he started building it. It cost 120 years to build it. But you have to understand, by perfect in their generations, if you actually study it, and I've talked to people that are geneticists, including Hebrews or Jews, it meant basically in Hebrew that he was not genetically altered. Everybody in the ancient world was genetically upgraded or altered.
Yeah.
Just like right now they're actually talking about selling genes to the rich and famous so they can upgrade the height of their kids or their athletic performance or their IQ. People say, oh, no, they won't do that. Listen, they're pushing transhumanism now. And even the Vatican is pushing the idea of hybridizing with aliens from other worlds, and they can even evangelize us. The Vatican, and this Jesuit Pope was a maniac and not a Christian at all, is telling us that we should wonder that aliens should be able to evangelize us. So people should start grasping.
We're jumping all around different subjects, and each one of those subjects needs like an hour or two.
Yeah, I know. I want to introduce it because I want people to get an idea of how important what you're saying is and how important your books and videos are. Let's continue. How do you think that they constructed the moat? Of course, we talked about that. Prevailing paradigm Native Americans is built in mounds by hauling the basket. You showed that it's not mathematically possible. And the octagon mound was 500,000 tons of earth. How the heck do they carry that in little baskets? Is it possible to move that amount of tonnage? Your sixth question.
Well, what we did is we went to a place called Poverty Point. It's down in Louisiana. We filmed it. It's the second largest mound in America, and it's about 390,000 tons of earth. So people go, well, okay, what is that? What does that really mean? What does that mean to me? It's a big mound of earth. So, we're in modernity. People know that they can do stuff like that. Well, when you go and we show this archaeologist giving this, actually he's a docent at another site called Fort Ancient, which is 3.5 miles of earthen walls. It's the largest edifice like that in the United States. And he goes, on record, he goes that the Hopewell built this. Well, first of all, Hopewell was a farmer who found artifacts, a white guy who found artifacts on his farm. So they named this entire culture, who they have no idea who these people were, after the Hopewell farmer. So when they say Hopewell or Radina, these are made-up names. They have no idea what happened to these people. The prevailing paradigm is, well, they just kind of disappeared. They were Native Americans. And one of the prevailing paradigms, the statements that they make over and over again is, Native Americans built all this. They just forgot that they had done so. But that's not what the tribes say. The tribes say that the giants built them, or that they were there when they got there. So
but they came across
tons of earth.
Exactly. The Native people came.
Let me finish this. Let me finish this. 390,000 tons of earth. That's a lot of earth. 3.5 miles of continuous earthworks. And this docent stands up and says that they did it with clamshells and the shoulder bones of deer to make these primitive hoes, and hauled one basketful at a time.
Do you have difficulty taking supplements? Are you
Yeah,
searching
LA,
for high-quality, complete nutritional drink
that's
that your
an
whole
insult
family will
against
love?
your intelligence.
NutriMedical's
to say
Life
things
Support
like
has
that, isn't it?
arrived. All of your daily nutritional requirements in one quick, delicious drink. Dr. Bill Deagle's Life Support is a proprietary blend of vegan protein, activated vitamins, essential minerals, amino acids, probiotics, green tea, digestive enzymes, anti-inflammatories, cancer prevention, detoxification, and much more. Your body will high-five you for this one. Life Support is the best complete nutritious meal replacement on the market. Whether you are an elite athlete, have post-operative challenges, chronic illness, elderly, or a family that just wants a quick, delicious drink, try Dr. Bill Deagle's Life Support for optimized nutrition in one great-tasting smoothie. Just add cold water, almond milk, fruit, or anything else you like. NutriMedical's Life Support. Try our great-tasting chocolate or vanilla today. Call 888-212-8871 or visit us online at NutriMedical.com. NutriMedical.com for the whole family.
Legacy Emergency Foods is the top recommendation from Dr. Bill Deagle for the lowest oxygen concentration, the largest entrees, the highest amount of protein, the most varied entrees as well, and the longest food storage life. Nothing like Legacy Emergency Foods, and if you place a regular monthly order, you get 20% off and free shipping. Do get emergency foods for your supply for preparation and get it from Legacy Foods. Contact Dr. Bill Deagle for the link at NutriMedical.com. Go to the Shop by Products link and drop down message at NutriMedical.com and then place your orders for regular emergency food for yourself and your family. Nothing like emergency food if the power goes out and you can't go to grocery stores or if there's an emergency or a national crisis. So NutriMedical.com, top recommendation, Legacy Foods. NutriMedical.com, go to the Shop by Products and drop down menu and stay well with NutriMedical every day of your life. Lumen photon therapy, infrared light, far and near infrared, is extremely important for pain control, stimulation of nitric oxide, improved perfusion, and stem cell activation and reduction of cytokines. Dr. Bill uses it for pain control, for regeneration techniques, for organ regeneration, and for stimulation of your stem cell activity. This amazing lumen photon therapy this year will probably have an additional device with frequency therapy during the on phase of the lights. To obtain a lumen photon machine, contact Dr. Bill at NutriMedical.com, 888-212-8871. He'll prescribe it with you providing nutraceuticals to help with your regeneration, healing, and pain control. Nothing like the lumen photon therapy for easy therapy for your eyes, your pain, your joints, regeneration of organs, detoxification of the body. Get a lumen photon machine from Dr. Bill Deagle, NutriMedical.com, 888-212-8871. Stay well with NutriMedical. The Sonic Life Machine is one of the most amazing therapies that Dr. Bill provides. It is the best sine wave exercise machine on the planet, doing whole body vibration, opening up the muscle to reduce insulin resistance, improve perfusion, release stem cell therapies throughout the body, and epigenetically stimulate the body to release DNA activated. The epigenetic therapy with the sine wave curve of frequencies given for atomic resonance, but Linus Pauling for minerals and amino acids stimulates the production of messenger RNA to correct structural protein enzyme deficiency for almost every illness. There's nothing like the sine wave therapy for improving body healing for exercise, but also the epigenetic treatments Dr. Bill can provide can help neutralize frequencies for disease states and illness. Get a Sonic Life machine through Dr. Bill Deagle at NutriMedical.com. Contact us at NutriMedical.com, 888-212-8871, or go to the website NutriMedical and give us a contact. Dr. Bill is available to help you get well with NutriMedical.
Need a powerful ally to fight daily bugs and serious pathogens? Allicin Med is the powerful universal pathogen killer's latest advance of German-sourced allicin, enzymatically stabilized to clear the body of bacteria, fungi, mycobacteria, and parasites. It penetrates body biofilms and is non-toxic to tissues. Pathogen resistance cannot develop for long-term body-optimized wellness. Clear stealth pathogens that promote autoimmune disease, cancer, and vascular inflammation and plaque and promote healing of tissues. Now pathogen-free. With 200 milligrams more power than prior Alamed, you can't get a more powerful ally to fight daily bugs and serious pathogens. Give your body what it needs. Allicin Med. Order Dr. Bill Deagle's Nutridyne at 888-212-8871 or NutriMedical.com. That's 1-888-212-8871 or NutriMedical.com. And listen to the NutriMedical Report on the Genesis Radio Network with open lines every weekday. NutriMedical.com, bringing nutrition and medicine together.
the dirt and the mound and the numbers are mind-boggling. Please continue.
They are. And let's go back to Poverty Point, Louisiana, 390,000 tons of earth. So what does that look like? Well, to get a feel for this, we had a guy, we actually had a gentleman who created a museum, a replica of a primitive hoe that was used, let's say, 5,000, 6,000 years ago. The guy's a flint knapper. It's a museum piece. And we hired a fit labor, and he went out, and we show on film how long it takes with this little hoe to get a bucket full of dirt, which is not even 30 pounds, okay? About 20 pounds. One bucket of dirt was well over 20 minutes to dig it with a hoe and actually move it to the pile. When we show this to audiences, people just start laughing. I mean, they shake their heads and start laughing. So when you deconstruct the mound called Fort Ancient, 3.5 miles of continuous mounds, all right? It's unbelievable. If you've never been there, it's in Ohio. It's definitely, it'll blow your mind. When you deconstruct that, what it comes out to is 200 miles of dump trucks end to end. That's how much dirt is there. And Deagle, it's compacted. We don't even know. We haven't even touched that yet. How did they compact the dirt on all these mounds? You know, Adena is another type of mound, really steep sides. The Graves Creek Mound is allegedly an Adena. Again, they have no idea who built it, so they make up names. Oh, we just call these people the Adena. But the mounds, the sides of the mounds are really steep. And it begs the question, how the heck do you compact this stuff? Because from what I've read with the Graves Creek Mound, when they tunneled into it, in a shaft into it, and they realized that the dirt was so compacted, get this, that they didn't need to shore it up. Now, how does that work? How the heck does that work? And so we're looking at something else that might have been mixed with the dirt. I mean, more testing needs to be done, but of course, you know, you can't really do anything at these sites. They're all World Heritage sites that are controlled by the state, and you know, you can't. They won't let someone like me get even near it. I'm banned from certain museums because of the films that I make. They don't want me there. So, but they won't look at the truth. You know, how 200 miles of dump trucks end to end to build Fort Ancient. It's only one site in Ohio. And in Ohio alone, there were 10,000 mounds. So we're looking at something else that happened here. And that, when I say happened here in the Americas, it goes from the Great Lakes down to the Gulf of Mexico. This mountain culture was everywhere. And then it just vanishes. It all goes away.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty dramatic. Now, the ninth question you have, and I want to move on to this too, is that there's some signs of bones and so on indicating there was some form of ritual human sacrifice back then too. Can you get into that?
At the Serpent Mound, which is the largest serpent iconography on the planet, although that might change depending on whether or not the serpent that Derek Gilbert thinks he found up on the Golan Heights, which may or may not be a serpent. We don't know. It certainly undulates. But it's not like the Serpent Mound in Ohio, which is just really obvious. And it's made of dirt. And the coils, as it coils around the landscaping, I've been there 3 times, by the way, these undulations in the serpent's body point to the winter solstice, the summer solstice. It's built on an 18-and-a-half-year lunar cycle. The serpent's head is wide open, and the mouth is wide open, swallowing an egg in the act of devouring an egg. And this is huge because we go back to early lithographs and drawings of the serpent, and it looks more like a dragon, a Chinese dragon. Seems to have something around the head, like not like wings, but something that's there. There's pictures of Chinese dragons which you can superimpose on this, and you kind of go, what's going on here? Well, we came up with a different paradigm, and this is an amateur archaeologist. His name is Mark Hirschman, and he came up with this and gave it to me, and I published it. I mean, I wrote a whole paper on it and used it in the book when we talk about it. But he arrived there because he was at the Serpent Mound, and a few days before he attended our Nephilim Mounds conference several years ago. And Gary Thierman was up there talking, and Gary was lecturing on It's All About the Seed. And he was pointing back to the Genesis 3:15 narrative, which says that, and I believe it's the pre-incarnate Christ talking to the dragon and Adam and Eve. saying your seed,
Right.
the seed of a dragon, your offspring of a dragon, will be at enmity at war with the offspring of the woman. He, the coming Messiah, will crush your head, you will bruise his heel. That sets up the rest of the biblical narrative. It's not taught in churches per se, so most people are totally ignorant that there's going to be a seed war between the offspring of the dragon, i.e. Satan, and the offspring of Adam and Eve, which is exactly what we see with Jesus. When he finally incarnates, he crushes the head of the serpent, just like that ancient prophecy says. Well, here's the deal. If that's real, Eagle, no one has ever put pen to paper. And, again, I got to give credit where I wish I was that smart to see it. Hirschman is the guy that came up with it. He just gave it to me, and I ran with it. I wrote the paper on it. But he was the one that put it together. And he said, look, could it be this, that this serpent iconography in Peebles, Ohio, the Great Serpent Mound, is in the act of not, giving birth to an egg. Serpents don't give birth to eggs through their mouth, for crying out loud. He's in the act of swallowing the egg, trying to destroy the egg of the woman, which is exactly what we think it is. And, of course, archaeologists won't pay it any heed. But if it's true, it makes so much sense. And one more thing on that. When you go there now, if you go to the Great Serpent Mound in Ohio, you will see signage that's insisting that the Shawnee built it. But we have on record from the Shawnee chief that the Shawnee did not build the Great Serpent Mound. So Chief Joseph Riverwood, who's in all three of the Mound Builders series films, comes on the record, and you can see his eyes, and his countenance changes, and he says, these people were doing a great injustice because it's not, 250 years ago that they're rewriting history. It's like right now. They're telling us, telling the people, the public, that the Shawnee built it, but never mind what the Shawnee said. The Shawnee came on the record and stated that we didn't build it. We didn't build the Serpent Mound.
Yeah, it's amazing that they would be nervy enough to do that and actually insult the Shawnee because somehow they think they can get away with it. Now, why are they doing this? Because, of course, most of these so-called pseudo-academics are involved with secret orders that don't want to preach it. For example, people don't realize that the greatest library in the world right now in terms of ancient documents is the Vatican Library, which collected documents from all over the world, including the Library at Alexandria. And these secret orders have known about these things forever. That's why you have to understand even the hat on the Pope is a mitre. It actually is an open mouth of a amphibious draco-reptilian, because the popes and all the leaders in the Catholic Church are all druids. People don't know that, do they?
Look, everything, the whole idea of a serpent, first of all, is universal. I mean, it's absolutely everywhere. Everywhere. It's always the serpent. Whether you're down in Peru or you're in England or we were in Karnak.
They have different names for it, but the same thing all the time, right?
It's always the same thing. We were in Karnak, France, okay? And Karnak at one time had upwards of 80,000 megalithic stones upright. Now, that number has been greatly reduced to probably between 3,000 and 5,000 stones. That's all that's left. And when you look at some of these megaliths and menhirs, they're absolutely humongous. And it begs the question, people have nothing else to do in a hunter-gatherer culture but to erect these things. And for what purpose? What are they doing it? Well, there's this guy who was at the Serpent Mound. His name is Hunbat's Man. He passed away a couple of years ago. He and the other Mayan elders brought the 13 crystal skulls to get together and did this tour of the Americas. And we show this in the third film, Think of a Supernatural Voices from the Other Side. It's the third film in the Armored Trail of the Nephilim series. And guess what? Hunbat's Man and the 13 crystal skulls in 2012, before the winter solstice, and allegedly the end of the world, they go to the Great Serpent Mound. And we have film of that. And we show it. And everybody's going, hundreds and hundreds of people are opening up a gateway, a portal, a doorway, which has been closed there. I mean, this is absolutely deliberate. So I'm there with this guy, Howard Crowhurst, who's our guide. And Howard Crowhurst, by the way, is the go-to guy for anything to do with Karnak. I mean, the man's amazing. He's been there for 35 years studying it. And he had no idea that I had just finished this film about using Hunbat's Men and all this stuff. He had no idea about the serpent now. And he goes, yeah, a couple of years ago, Hunbat's Men came with the crystal skulls. And I said, wait a minute. And what happened? And he goes, well, he was in this one area, and we were in the same area, That's what brought it up. And he goes, and Hunbat's men stopped the whole tour. He had about 30 people with him, and said, "I feel serpent energy here." Now, Howard knew that there was one of the largest megaliths, largest menhirs, standing stones in all of Karnak, and it's got the serpent iconography on it. And here's Hunbat's men, has no idea that this stone is like maybe 30, 40 feet away. He's feeling serpent energy. And then he says something to Howard. He goes, "I used to think the Maya were the eldest, but I am here now, and this is much older than the Maya." So it was like, and we have all this on film, and I'll release it in an up-and-coming film probably next year or the year after that. We have so much material we're just trying to get out. But it's always the serpent. Yeah. Always. When you go down to Peru, the flying men of Paracas, okay, the elongated skull, these flying men have serpents coming out of their mouth. Isn't that lovely? And they're entwined with serpents. The serpent iconography is used absolutely everywhere. And there's a reason for it. Because the serpent is, i.e., Satan, the dragon. That's who we're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah, amazing stuff, isn't it? Now, when I refer to these people that rule our planet, that are indwelt by the disembodied spirits of these Draco-Reptilian, I call them people of clay and iron. That's why if you want to call it ministry, is called Clay and Iron, my other website, Clay and Iron. And that's why when you look at actually the council called the Druidic Council of 13 and the Pindar, which means the penis of the dragon, they rule Earth. Earth is ruled by these same beings. And that's why when you look at the secret agencies, every secret agency on Earth is under what's called the Thule Society and what's called Project Omega, which was, by the way, completed by George Bush Sr. as a follow-up to the Thule Society that planned in the 1930s to put this together like the United Nations and eventually to have world government, a proxy world government behind the scenes. They have the public government, we call it elected government, which is a show game. I remember talking to Phil Schneider and to his friend John Fiala, because I was actually John's doctor. He got particle disease from the sodium-cooled nuclear reactors he used for tunneling, working for Bechtel Corporation. And they broke into one facility, and it was a mock-up of the United Nations, and some of these beings came out. And, of course, people don't understand, and there was George Bush Sr. as well. People have to understand what's going on as our world is ruled by transdimensionals. In fact, when they broke into one facility in I believe it was in northern Mexico, John got in a firefight. And in fact, I talked to John. Yeah, and he got blasted in the sternum, and he told me how they had to do a surgical treatment and actually remove the sternum, put a plastic sternum in because he got hit with a plasma weapon. He did manage to shoot it back and kill it. But people have to understand these things are real, and they're in underground cities. They're all over the damn place, and they're collaborating with world government. And people have to understand that the globalists, that's why when you look at agencies look at Nancy Pelosi and all these other people doing their stuff now, we don't need to get into that. All these people are basically avatars. They're involved with human sacrifice. They're involved with pedophilia. And Nancy is involved with Pedagate and Pizzagate. Same as all these other secret orders. They're all involved. They're all demonic. They're all involved with transdimensional entities, and they go to sacrificial centers. Okay, that's why when you go to Northern California to the Bohemian Grove, they have the giant owl, Moloch Baal, which are ancient sacrificial druidic ceremonies. They're sacrificing children that were conceived 9 months earlier in the new moon ceremony, and they actually put them on the owls of the arms of the owls. If they didn't have one, they make a sweetbread to the Queen of Heaven, they call it. And they actually put a sacrificial cardamine sweetbread shaped in little boys and girls like gingerbread babies, burnt to ashes if they don't have a live baby to put sacrifice to the owl god. This is really going on, people. This is not imaginary. This is your world, right? And it all goes back to
you said a lot of things in there, and I just can't give that a blanket pass.
Yeah, you're going to get the last segment. Don't worry about it. We're going to take a break for 4 minutes, not 5. And it's your segment. When we come back, we're going to hear more about the mountains and how to get your amazing video. The latest one, of course, On the Trail of the Nephilim, the mysteries of mysterious mound builders.
Are you still looking for that one iodine that you can really trust? A medical doctor-endorsed product that is backed by honest research and true integrative science? Then search no further. Go to NutriMedical.com for Dr. Bill Deagle's Nutriodine, proven time and time again to be the very best iodine available for you. Nutriodine is the only Tesla-activated monatomic plasma iodine in the world. It optimizes mitochondrial function and generation of new mitochondria, from totally neutralizing the venom from a desert recluse spider bite in Southern California to eliminating malaria parasites reported by medical missionaries in central India. Dr. Bill's Nutriodine is simply the most powerful healing formula there is. Nutriodine clears the body of all known pathogens, restores it to an alkaline state, and even promotes stem cell regeneration. Order Dr. Bill's Nutriodine today at 888-212-8871 or visit us online at NutriMedical.com.
Red Deer Velvet DR is an amazing new product with a patent to preserve 300 biomolecules and 6 hormones, same as fetal life, where you don't age at all. The state of fetal life allows the 300 biomolecules and 6 hormones produced by the placenta to be supportive of the regeneration of tissues and organs, with maximum apoptosis, changing the tissue and organ structure of a fetus. That's why if fetal surgery is performed, there is no scar. Taking 2 to 3 capsules twice a day with oncomycin, myco-D2, provides an amazing support for regeneration of any tissue and organ in the body, and even advanced stem cell therapy support treatment. Do get NutriMedical's Red Deer Velvet DR from Dr. Bill Deagle at NutriMedical.com, NutriMedical.com, 888-212-8871. Stay well and stay young with NutriMedical. Hi, I'm Dr. Bill Deagle, MD, AAEM, ACAM, A4M, of NutriMedical.com, and a consultant providing email advice free on advanced protocols for your optimized wellness and advanced technologies to heal and regenerate you. You can contact us at NutriMedical.com, that's NutriMedical.com, or 888-212-8871. You get free email starter protocols of our top medical-grade nutraceuticals, initial testing, and recommendations for your own primary doctor to do, as well as recommendations to give you an idea of a consultation and a full protocol to try to help you regenerate your tissues, heal naturally without the use of toxic polypharmacy. I can send test kits to you as well anywhere in the world and provide you recommendations to referral of specialty clinics worldwide. So contact me, Dr. Bill Deagle, at NutriMedical.com. That's NutriMedical.com, or 888-212-8871. At NutriMedical.com, we have the most amazing drinks with the best mouthfeel, highest quality bionutrient exposure to your body to heal and regenerate, and the most powerful persistence of nutrients to heal your body dramatically. We have Ageless, which makes you age less, which repairs your DNA, extends your telomeres, etc. We have Life Support that detoxes phase 2 detox pathways, glucuronidation, sulfation, and methylation pathway support. We have Glycemics that blocks the carbohydrate absorption and helps with diabetes or weight loss, and as well helps with people that are trying to build up muscle, using things like our special formulas from Dr. Wolf called Mega Muscles between meals along with Sports Energy Light. We have the amazing Nutri-Complete, the most complete red and greens drink in the world, with the best mouthfeel and flavor. You can often mix it too with Vitamin Mineral Mix, which is our fruit-flavored mixed power of vitamin minerals. Stay well with NutriMedical every day.
Again, all this stuff is coming down. You can't fix it anymore.
No. Only God's going to fix it. We're observers. You're revealing it to people to get to seek the truth. So explain how to get your video. Well, this is an amazing thing. This is kind of an intro to your amazing video. How do they get it? And, of course, we have your 2 websites, which we'll have links up to. It's called On the Trail of the Nephilim, The Mysterious Mound Builders. People need to see this. They need to understand, start asking questions, and realizing the nature of the world is very different. You've got 2 main websites, L.A. Marzulli, MARZULLI.net. And, of course, you also have a WordPress site, lamarzulli.wordpress.com. Can they obtain it on your website, lamarzulli.net?
Yep, lamarzulli.net.
Perfect. Okay, please continue.
Look, I want to address something. You know, right before the break, you kind of talk about, you know, Pedogate and Pizzagate and all this stuff. And look, all that stuff's been swirling around the net, and I understand that. And I also understand what, you know, being libel is about. Some of those things I agree with. Some of the things I don't. We don't have time to really get into all of them. I will.
Yeah, we don't need to get into that because that would be another show. We can do discussions on a video.
But let me finish. I agree with you wholeheartedly. There's a deep occultic side, underbelly to everything that we see, and it does have human sacrifice, and it does have pedophilia, and everything else. I mean, we know that. There's too many people that have come forward. So, when you talk about things like that, we can broad brush, but there's a very, very dark, occultic, Luciferian agenda, which has basically engulfed this planet, and that's what we're seeing. So, yeah.
Yeah, in other words, we're in agreement of the core thing. We may have a few details where we haven't talked it out yet. But what you're saying is, and I agree, every secret agency, every deep religion, whether it's Islam or Judaism or Christianity, are fully infiltrated to a great extent by demonic and otherworldly powers and influences. And what people need to understand, all of our governments on earth are a sham, even our so-called adversarial system here in America, because behind the scenes, the fourth power of government, which are these, long-term bureaucrats and so on, and the people that are in secret orders, they're running things. That's why when you hear Brennan making comments, even threats to Trump, they have lots of ways of getting you. The reason why is because these people are involved, both, in a sense, are the modern incarnation of the people who are the mound builders, and the people that control the mound builders are still in control of our world. Our world is not run by normal human beings, or are greedy or even perverted. It's run by transdimensional and transgalactic evil, right?
What we are looking at, again, is a dark Luciferian underbelly to everything that we see. But Nazis rose to power. Hitler was a member of a Thule society. I mean, they were steeped in the occult. They were all at
he was an occult high priest is what he was, really, too, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. He was certainly a type of Antichrist, for sure.
Right.
And he almost succeeded. I mean, he almost succeeded in stopping the prophetic biblical prophecy of the Jews coming back into their homeland in 1948. So in the ashes of the Holocaust, Israel was reestablished. No one ever would have guessed that would happen 200 years ago. That was a pipe dream. Oh, you can't take those passages of Scripture literally, L.A. It's all allegory. Well, it's not allegory. They're there. So, look, I mean, this thing is coming down, and this is why, in my opinion, the only way it's going to change is the rider on the white horse. And, of course, I'm pointing to Revelation 19, where Jesus and the armies of heaven come down from the heavenly realm, flying white horses, and they destroy the beast and the Antichrist and the dragon, the whole crew. And I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's going to happen. It has to be the intervention of God. Mankind, you and I can prep to all we want. Without God's intervention and God's armies, if you want to call it, it's not going to happen. And there'll be physical changes. I think there'll be a physical change of the earth. I'm expecting one of the things God's revealed to me is one of the things that will happen is a pole shift. But there's lots more that's not involved with mankind. We can prep, we can get guns and food and communication, and we can do all kinds of stuff. But ultimately, the most important thing is prepare our hearts, see the truth and the evil, and start repenting and trying to get away from it. Try to separate yourselves. Don't be involved with secret orders. Don't be involved with fake and false churches. Don't be involved with and do get a perspective of what the Bible is all about, which is much more revelatory than people realize. And your book fits with the Bible. That's what's cool about it. It fits with the Bible, your research. But a lot of so-called pseudo-academics don't want to accept it, even though they say things that when you present it, people laugh. They say, no, and they laugh their head off thinking, you're going to move 400,000 tons with a little trowel and a shovel? How ridiculous. And even the native peoples tell you that, and then they don't even believe the native peoples, and the native people are being honest, like, we didn't make these things, right?
Well, I mean, this is what's amazing about it, is that, I'm not a club member. I'll never be a club member. I'm not degreed. I'm not part of the archaeological, anthropological community. I'm not. But you know what? I have 2 archaeologists on our team. We have medical doctors on our team. And we have people like, if I want to find something, I hire a surveyor. Go out and tell us what's going on here. Right now we're looking at, I just want to give you, I think last time we talked about this again. I want to bring this up because this is so important. This is so important. People need to hear this and understand what's really going on. We talked about earlier that many of these sites are built on an 18-and-a-half-year lunar cycle. Okay,
Right.
so what does that mean, LA? That means, in order to understand, first of all, that there's an 18-and-a-half-year lunar cycle, let's say Dr. Bill Deagle and L.A. Marzulli go out tonight, and we go, okay, let's put some stakes in the ground, and we'll get a sight point, and when that moon comes up, somehow we'll record the data. That's day one. But we don't know what year we're in. Are we in year 4, year 12, year 1, year 17? We have no idea. In other words, in order to figure out that the lunar cycle is 18-and-a-half years long, someone's got to record that data. And that's where it goes off the rails, because there's
Right.
no way to do it in the ancient world. There's absolutely no way to do it.
Right.
And
You had to, in other words, you had to be outside the planet and use mathematics and things that didn't exist back then, right? With the normal people.
Yeah, I mean, it's geometry. I mean, it's what it is. It's geometry. And Native Americans did not have geometry, with all due respect. They didn't.
Right.
Europeans 5,000 years ago didn't have geometry. So, people go, oh, it's a racist statement. No, it's not. It's a statement of fact. Some people
It's a
have
reality
it, some people
statement,
don't. Yeah.
See, you've done something intellectually that's very important. You kept pursuing better and better questions to explain an anomaly and a paradox that's staring you in the face. And you eventually found answers that fit with the Bible and ancient documents like, the Book of the Dead, the Vimana books, the ancient book of the India and so on, and ancient symbology. For example, the symbols that the Nazis used go back 6,000 years to Asia. These are not new symbols. And the different names for these dragons all over the world, it's the same beings with different names, like the Naga of Asia, the Dagon of the Middle East, and the Chitahuri of South Africa. And the anomalies are actually similar. I bet you found mounds not just in North America, you found them elsewhere, right?
Wait, what was that again?
You probably found mounds elsewhere in the world.
Oh, yeah. We were over. In fact, I'll use this. I'm standing in front of the Salisbury Mound in England, which looks exactly like Graves Creek Mound in West Virginia. And I look at the camera with kind of a little impish grin and go, am I standing in Ohio or West Virginia or someplace else?
I remember you made that
how do
comment
you know?
at the Gen 6 conference, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you have another one. I heard the announcement that another one's coming out, the next Gen 6 in Branson. I would like you to introduce this show and the ability to also do multi-site videos, because I'll do it for you guys free. After the show, Monday to Thursday, your weekends, if you want to get even a short interview, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, I can put you on audio and just the speaker, or video and send a camera link to you, the HD to you or whoever else, and we also want to get other guests on, because I want it to be a multi-person opinion and interlocked information that doesn't, once we discuss it deeper enough, we're going to find the core information we agree on. There may be a few little details here and there and minor stuff that seems to be like it's in conflict, which really isn't, because really the basic principles behind it we agree on. We've been influenced, we've been visited, we've had science by ancient beings from other worlds, and we have been ruled over by transgalactic entities and beings, including even avataring our current world leaders. That's the source of our evil and destruction on our planet, and this is a galactic and cosmic battle between good and evil, isn't it?
Well, it is, and again, it prophecy tells us that it's heating up, and we know who wins at the end. Thank God.
Right.
But this is it's coming down. I mean, it's definitely coming down.
Oh yeah. And you're one of the main people, I think. I remember having you on over the years, but your latest presentation I saw on Gen 6 is amazing. And by the way, they can go and get the videos. I have both the videos from last year and this year. Go to gen6.com and buy the videos. Get your books. Now, besides that one, what other books and videos do you have at your website and information that people can purchase?
Oh, my gosh, you've got tons of stuff. The On the Trail of a Nephilim is it's over 600 pages, over 300 full-color photos. It's 8.5 by 11. It's an oversized book. Again, 4-color print, full-color photographs of places like Sac-Subramanian and the elongated skulls of Paracas. People at conferences, we can't keep them on the table, and I mean that.
Right.
We cannot keep the books on the table. They sell out every conference.
Another one I see when I went to your website is the Last Prophecies book trailer, right? Last Prophecies.
That's my friend Bill Salas.
Yeah, Bill Salas. And I've had Bill on the program. In fact, Bill prophesied what's going to happen to Damascus a few years ago on the show here. And we see some of the things that happened recently with the Kurds. And the Kurds now falling into the arms of Bashar al-Assad. I think all the stuff is actually winding up. I'm not going to put dates on it, but I can tell you, I can smell the breath of the dragon, and I can hear the thump of the giant footprints on the ground. In the sense, just my imagination, right?
It's coming down. It's definitely coming down. There's no doubt about it.
So go to the website. You can see all these videos and material here. It's amazing. You have another set of here that talks about the best of the watchers. Another one, ufology disclosure. These are also available.
Yeah, www.lamarzulli.net, lamarzulli.net. And, you know, folks, we're getting on the Christmas season. We have a lot of packages that we'll start putting up here very soon.
Right. And, of course, another one I look at the picture here, it's scary looking, is On the Trail of the Nephilim. This one is Voices from the Other Side, Secrets of the Supernatural. What does that one talk about?
That's the third film in the On the Trail of the Nephilim series that deals about, and Russ Dizdar said it very succinctly, if these are Nephilim mounds, if these really are Nephilim sites, then we should see supernatural manifestations. And we captured it on film. It's on film. It'll blow your mind.
Whoa, yeah. And I mentioned that person that brought those crystal skulls that you don't know how the things are made. They had manifestations of opening up trans-dimensional portals and manifestations that you can obviously tell were supernatural, right?
Absolutely. That's why the Mayan elders were there with the 13 crystal skulls. They know what that place is, and that's why they were there. They opened
up. So the Mayan elders brought these skulls to the mound, and they weren't the mound builders, but they knew about the skulls, and they brought them to the mound to open up a portal because they're trying to find out things. For example, in various places around the country, you'll see the Mayans, for example, in places like in Arizona, and these people have written, and the various people and these native peoples have actually, you know, in a sense, channeled information and put it even in stone symbology in the rocks, because they start to discern that they've got some kind of a highlight or a little kind of picture of where the future's going. And you've got it in all of your films here, which is kind of amazing. Full disclosure.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. These are amazing films. I tell people it's really important, and then go to gen6.com, but go to your website, which is lamarzulli.net and lamarzulli.wordpress.com. Thank you, L.A. We'll try to get you rescheduled for at least, come back at least monthly. And I hope everybody will get these videos and material and get yourself, as to say, what a day to do it on Halloween Eve to get the truth. Thank you, L.A. Amazing discussion. Tomorrow we have, of course, the firing line with Michelle. Get your questions in. Carly Schlanger from Berlin about the answers and solutions for the world trade. And then we're going to have Dr. Truott back. An amazing discussion about our epigenetic frequency therapies and so on. You don't want to miss it. And next week we got some amazing guests lined up. John Moore will be back from the long-term in Special Forces guy, Jonathan Gray from Ancient Archaeologists, and Cody Snodgrass and Frank Gregory Ford.
Which was most